Have you ever wondered why you're not reaching your goals despite having the motivation and the skills? Well, the answer might surprise you. It's not always about how hard you're working, how much you know, or even who you know. What if I told you that the key to success might be something that you're overlooking every day? Your ability to pay attention. Being able to harness your attention can mean the difference between success and failure. Hey there, and welcome back to my channel. We're kicking off a brand new series today, my book club, where we'll be diving into some of my favorite books and sharing key insights, tools, and ideas that have made a significant impact on mine and my clients' effectiveness in business and life. Today, we're discussing the book Peak Mind by Amishi Jha. This book reveals how meditation can elevate the quality of our attention, drawing from real-life examples in sport, military, and emergency services, combined with solid evidence from psychology and neuroscience. Peak Mind offers a unique insight into how our attention operates, why it sometimes fails us, and how we can better manage it. We'll be covering 4 key takeaways from this book. Number 1. Understanding what Dr. Amishi Jha refers to as our attention system. Number 2, stress, how poor mood and threat can act as kryptonite to our superpower of attention. Number 3, staying in play, working with our working memory. And number 4, explaining how to use mindfulness to better work with our attention. To start off, let's try an exercise from the book. Close your eyes for a moment and picture a vast wall filled with televisions. Each screen is replaying a brief 2 to 3 second snapshot of your life. There are instances of joy, amusement, and delight, as well as periods of sorrow, fury, and disappointment. Visualize scenes like playing with your children in the park or giving a presentation at a meeting. Take a moment to absorb this panoramic display. This is the story of your life. Yet, the stark reality is that half of these screens are empty. You're missing out on 50% of your life. Those moments have vanished, lost to you forever. Why? Because you weren't paying attention. Hopefully, the realization that you're missing out on at least half of your life inspires a desire to learn how to better manage your attention. One of the key misperceptions Amishi points out is that we tend to believe that our attention is a muscle, that when we use our attention, it wears out. But attention isn't like that. The key is to learn how to use it. To do this, we need to understand 3 systems of attention. Flashlight attention. Amishi likens this to being in a dark room where our flashlight of attention shines on something that we've identified as important. As the term suggests, our flashlight sharpens on one particular thing, allowing us to devote our entire attention to it, whether it's untangling a complex puzzle or keenly listening to a TED Talk. Flashlight attention enables us to suppress other distractions. Floodlight attention. On the contrary, floodlight attention is like stepping into a dim room and flicking on a light switch. With floodlight attention, you're capable of perceiving the entire space, understanding the setting. This system is broad and open and is referred to as the alerting system. Juggler attention. The third system is the juggler. This form of attention enables us to juggle multiple objectives. It's as if we have dozens of balls in the air. The juggler constantly monitors our goals and intentions, keeps track of them all, and decides what should receive our attention next. Now, when we say someone is paying attention, we usually mean they're focused on something, but that is an underselling of attention. Amishi says we lean on attention for nearly every facet of our lives, and each manifestation is vital to everything we do. Earlier, I mentioned that attention doesn't run out. It's like the Energizer Bunny. It keeps going and going. The real crux of the problem is this. We can't run our attention systems all at once. The flashlight, floodlight, and the juggler share the stage. We can only call upon one of them at a time. The kryptonite of attention. Amishi says that there are 3 things that degrade our ability to pay attention. The paradox of stress. Believe it or not, stress can actually serve us. Imagine for a moment a life devoid of stress. It's likely that we'd become complacent and lack motivation. The right dosage of stress can be positive. It can spur us, inspire us, and sharpen our focus. This type of beneficial stress is often termed eustress. However, Like most things in life, balance is key. Too much stress can tip the scales, leading to worry and loss of control. We become akin to jugglers dropping their balls, our minds bouncing incessantly between the past and the future. Such circumstances trigger a negative downward spiral, where our focus deteriorates under stress, subsequently causing more stress, further impairing focus. One might assume that if we could just strike the perfect balance of stress, we could perpetually operate at a peak performance. However, this notion is flawed. Even the ideal level of stress, when sustained over extensive periods, can push us to the wrong side of the performance curve. Number 2, the impact of mood. Certainly, you've observed how low-spirited mood can dramatically impact your ability to focus during meetings or conversations, ranging from minor disappointments to severe depression. These emotional states attract negative thought cycles and spur mental time travel. This phenomenon is not just anecdotal. Amishi has empirically demonstrated this in her laboratory. She exposes participants to negative stimuli such as distressing imagery or prompting them to recall upsetting experiences, and then assigns them a task that requires intense focus. In every instance, their ability to perform inevitably declines, thereby highlighting the substantial influence of mood on our attention. Number 3, the perception of threat. Consider this scenario. You're a forager over 1100,000 years ago in the wilderness, diligently picking berries. If you were so engrossed in your task, you'd likely overlook the lurking tiger stalking you. Evolution has engineered an instantaneous switch that triggers a high alert state whenever we sense danger. This evolutionary safeguard is akin to life insurance. Without it, our species would have been wiped out. Upon thinking about these 3 types of attention kryptonite, their impact on our focus is readily apparent. In the throes of stress, maintaining our focus on our goals can be a monumental challenge. If you've ever wrestled with feelings of boredom or depression, you understand the difficulty in upholding attention in a poor mood. Naturally, if a sense of threat looms, keeping your eye on long-term outcomes can be impossible. So how do we deal with this? This brings us to staying in play. As previously discussed, attention works in conjunction with our short-term memory. Picture it as a whiteboard where we jot down whatever we're currently focused on. This could be listening to our 4-year-old recount their day, or mentally projecting ourselves into the future, such as planning what to say in an upcoming meeting with a potential investor. An essential characteristic of this mental whiteboard is its limited capacity. An example of this is the traditional 7-digit phone number. 7 digits typically represented the maximum capacity for our short-term memory. Any more than that, and remembering becomes a significant challenge. This limitation is further demonstrated in an experiment related to facial recognition. Here, participants continuously update their whiteboard with attention so that they can remember faces. This updating with attention is critical as the metaphorical ink we use on our whiteboards fades. In one of her experiments, Amishi presented participants with an image of a typical face. The face would then vanish and another one would appear. Participants had to determine whether the new face was the same or different from the previous one. Unsurprisingly, this task was straightforward. However, as the number of faces increased, the task became increasingly challenging. This experiment demonstrates that we can't hold more than 3 faces at a time on our mental whiteboard. Once we attempt to hold more than 3 faces simultaneously, we lose the ability to recognize a face that we may have seen just moments prior. This is significant because our short-term memory serves as the bridge to our long-term memory. What we often perceive as memory issues are in fact issues of attention. What we jot down on our mental whiteboard is what gets stored into our long-term memory and subsequently recalled. In Peak Mind, Amishi shares a story about not knowing what a womp was, despite reading a story featuring a womp to her daughter every night at bedtime. See, she managed to read the story on autopilot while her thoughts were preoccupied with work and other matters. Therefore, the fact of what a womp wasn't recorded in and long-term memory. Staying in play. This is why point 3 is so important. The principle of staying in play rejects the idea of emptying our minds or erasing our mental whiteboards, as that is unfeasible. We are perpetually scribbling something on our mental whiteboards. That's why it's so important for us to be in the present moment, allowing our flashlight to shine on what is of most importance in the here and now, instead of mentally renewing our past or fast forwarding into the future. By staying in play, we're optimizing our chances of attaining our desired outcomes. This concept deeply resonates with me, because I once found myself perpetually stuck, either rewinding, traveling back to the past, or fast forwarding into the future, causing significant hurdles in me absorbing new ideas and concepts. Before reading this book, I discovered that meditation helped ground me in the present moment, allowed me to be in play. With this newfound presence, I was able to learn, grow, and acquire new skills. Most of all, improve the quality of my life. After reading Peak Mind, I truly realized the significance of mindfulness and staying in play. While I still set goals and make plans for my future, my attention lies predominantly in the here and now. I stay in play. This principle has also become fundamental to my coaching approach. I firmly believe that our ability to manage our attention, to be present, is the key to success in entrepreneurship and life. In essence, presence equals performance. Now finally, to point 4. 12 minutes of mindfulness a day can ensure that we maintain a peak mind, even in times of high stress. Amishi describes mindfulness as push-ups for the mind. Through her work with soldiers, pre-deployment, and emergency workers, she has shown that under times of high stress, our attention suffers and deteriorates. When we need it the most, our attention is missing in action. However, there is hope. By providing soldiers with mindfulness training, Amishi was able to help them maintain their ability to manage their attention. What's even more exciting is that if you practice mindfulness for more than 12 minutes a day, your ability to work with your attention system increases. There are 3 factors that determine what we pay attention to. First, we're drawn to what's familiar. If we encounter something we recognize, it's more likely to pique our interest. This is the reason why corporations invest huge sums in marketing their brands. Take Coca-Cola and McDonald's, for example. Their dominance in the soft drink and fast food sectors is no accident. Customers' attention is naturally drawn to their products and outlets over lesser known competitors. Second, what is salient grabs our attention. Bright hues, flashing lights are hard to ignore. This concept explains the addictive nature of TikTok. The fast-paced video edits filled with eye-catching effects make it challenging for users to disengage. Reflecting on my younger years, I can recall working as a bartender and developing a surprising gambling habit. This was odd considering I'd always been financially responsible and disliked gambling. What changed? Why did I start risking my modest savings? The slot machines were strategically positioned directly in front of the bar. As I worked there, flashing lights and sound effects continuously drew my attention. These machines are intentionally designed to ensnare us with the allure of potential windfalls. Sadly, they won the war for my attention, diverting my focus from my initial goal of saving for the future. The third factor that determines our attention is our goals. What we aspire to accomplish both in the near future and the long run. However, the challenge lies in the fact that our goals are often the most susceptible to the distractions of familiarity and savings. That's why I abandoned my long-term goal of saving for the future in favor of the short-term thrill of gambling. When you think about this, it becomes clear how our world is engineered to divert our attention. Marketers invest billions to distract us. Therefore, it's evident that learning to manage our attention systems and sidestep the kryptonite of distractions is vital. Amishi proposes 4 fundamental meditations to help focus. For the sake of time, I will share a brief description of one here and create additional videos to discuss all 4 of the meditations in more details later. Links to which you'll be able to find in the video description below. The initial practice Amishi suggests is finding your flashlight, which serves as the foundational practice for the other 3. Finding your flashlight. Prepare to meditate by sitting upright but relaxed, embodying a dignified presence. Position your hands in a comfortable resting place and soften your gaze or close your eyes. And follow the natural rhythm of your breath. Now tune in to breath-related sensations, whether it's the coolness of the air in your nostrils, your chest or belly moving. Focus on the most prominent sensation. Think of your attention as a flashlight. Focus directly on this area. Finally, maintain your attention. If it strays due to thoughts, memories, or distractions, gently guide it back to your breath. This is the essence of the practice. It's like a gentle nudge to redirect your attention. Like gently move your flashlight back to its target. Whether you're a novice in meditation or have been practicing for a while, it's essential to remember that meditation is about being, not performing. When I initially began meditating, I found it exasperating as I strived to reach a certain level of Zen. During one of my first meditation sessions, I experienced a fleeting yet beautiful moment of enlightenment that left a lasting sense of completeness for the remainder of the day. I mistakenly came to believe that I failed if I couldn't replicate this moment. However, upon examining some research about meditation and discovering that individuals reap the benefits of meditation, whether they thought they'd done it correctly or not, convinced me otherwise. After reading numerous books on mindfulness and meditation, I've come to understand that meditation isn't meant to merely make you feel better. At times, it's deeply uncomfortable because it's about accepting the current moment as it is. I want to highlight this point because there are many practices of mindfulness that, in my opinion, aren't genuinely mindfulness practices. They're about escaping from the present moment. While these practices play a significant role, especially in therapy, they don't assist us when it comes to learning to be more present in the world. Practicing mindfulness daily empowers us to work with three systems of attention: the flashlight, the floodlight, and the juggler. When we do this, we're able to safeguard ourselves against the kryptonite of stress, negative moods, and threats that can compromise our attention. Mindfulness isn't about emptying the mind. It's about fostering a meta-awareness of our attention's trajectory, recognizing when we strayed and skillfully redirecting our focus back onto our goals and away from what's simply familiar or salient. To cultivate a peak mind, we don't need to seclude ourselves within a monastery for years on end. Rather, it's an achievable aspiration for each of us, accomplished by dedicating just 12 minutes a day to the practice of mindfulness. Thank you so much for watching. And if you've got any value, please like and share with your friends and family.